You know, several people have mentioned this already. Tomorrow, our country will mark the untimely assassination of President Kennedy 50 years ago. And many of us in this room were inspired by his energy and his boldness. He motivated a new generation of young people to public service and to become civically involved at a time when politicians were still considered role models more than they are today. But let me say, and I've worked as an officer now for 2 years, in my work with county supervisors around California, I see in all of you the same commitment, the same dedication, and the same passion to public service that was inspired by President Kennedy. I am very proud to be working alongside all of you to advance the very important work of county government, and I want to give all of you a hand. All of you, supervisors and county staff, are role models in your community. You make tough decisions every day about how to allocate the limited resources we have to serve the vital needs of our residents. I don't need to tell you the dilemma you feel when you're called upon to decide whether to allocate your last unspent dollar on more mental health services for people who are homeless, or to put more deputy sheriffs on the street to protect our communities. Those are tough decisions. And unlike state legislators or members of Congress, and you know this, you are always accessible and out in your communities where the public gets a chance to tell you whether you made the right decision at the last Board of Supervisors meeting. You know that feeling, right? Yeah. I know it. In the grocery store, in a park, in your church, in your neighborhood, you're there. They get to ask you those questions. We truly serve at the level of government where the rubber meets the road, and we serve as the safety net for our state's most vulnerable residents. But we often get, the great thing in our job is we often get to make policy, but we also get to design the programs to best implement that policy. But then we deal with the impacts if that program doesn't work as effectively as we intended. So we see firsthand what works and what doesn't work. Counties are truly the laboratories of innovation. We experiment with new programs that we develop. We improve them based on their performance, and we share our experiences with each other. So I don't know how many of you have seen the CSAC Smart Justice video series, but those videos highlight the innovative work going on in our counties around realignment. There's some great things happening in our counties in California around realignment, and I encourage you to take a look at the videos on the CSAC website. It's a great way to learn from each other. This is also a great and important time to be a county supervisor in California. We have a governor who strongly believes in transferring more decision-making responsibilities from the state to counties. So we have a unique opportunity to shape the terms upon which this realignment of responsibilities occurs. It's a great time. In the coming year, there's a lot on our plate in Sacramento. We're continuing to deal with the implementation of criminal justice realignment, the Affordable Care Act, and we always need to be ready to respond when the governor releases his proposed budget in January, which is just around the corner. So let me say, as your president, I don't intend to add any new issues to our plate. That plate is already full. But I do believe that as we focus on our work, that we can think about how we can continue to invest more in those many prevention services that counties are so good at providing. We know, and research bears this out, that the more we invest in prevention, like health and wellness programs, youth services, workforce training, just to name a few, the less we will spend down the road on medical care, criminal prosecution, and jails. We either invest now or pay more later. And at lunch today, our Attorney General Kamala Harris framed the discussion as not whether one is tough or soft on crime, but whether we're being smart on crime. Being smart on crime meaning things like investing more in youth services and after-school programs to keep young people out of gangs and out of crime. The good work of the cities, county, schools partnership, which is a cooperative effort of our 3 state associations, has focused on how our 3 levels of government can work together to better improve public safety, health outcomes, and educational achievement. Being smart on crime also means investing in effective reentry programs to support those who've served their time successfully and help them move back to our communities and keep them from reoffending. So I believe we can continue our role, and I know this was an issue that CSAC dealt with decades ago as well, that counties can be strong advocates for getting the state to give us greater flexibility and local control in spending state dollars in ways that we know achieve better outcomes in our communities, because we know we deal with these programs. And I'm looking forward to our policy committees discussing how CSAC can best influence state policies to give us this flexibility to more effectively spend the dollars we get. As we take on the challenges of 2014, I'm very excited to work with our dedicated officer team, who you just met, and all the committee chairs and vice chairs, because we work as a team, to continue our efforts with the governor and the legislature to work cooperatively with counties on realignment, healthcare, water, and other issues. So let me ask, just so you see who they all are, ask our officers and all our committee chairs and vice chairs. I know not all of them are here tonight, some are not, but if I can ask all of you to stand so you can see who they are and we can recognize them for their efforts and hard work. So let me get all the committee chairs, vice chairs, and officers to stand. And you know, we couldn't accomplish our legislative agenda in Sacramento without the knowledge and professionalism of our hardworking CSAC staff under the leadership of our relatively new now, a little over a year, Executive Director, Matt Kate. So I'd like to ask all the CSAC staff to stand, and let's give them a hand for their great work. Yeah. I didn't ask the Public Works folks to stand, but you know, they're always having a good time, I know. We'll ask you to stand later. As we do our work here at CSAC, I want to acknowledge the importance of supporting and cultivating leadership within our association. I want to recognize the creation within CSAC of the Latino Caucus and the Women's Leadership Forum. I believe those are 2 very important efforts to help support and cultivate leadership within our organization. And I encourage those interested in getting involved to contact Marin County Supervisor Susan Adams for the Women's Leadership Forum, or Marin County Supervisor Fernando Armenta for the Latino Caucus. Oh, Monterey. What did I say? Monterey County. Not Marin. Susan's Marin. I also want to highlight the important work of the CSAC Institute, which I've had the pleasure of chairing the last few years, which offers continuing education for county leaders. And you should know there are still open slots for a great executive leadership symposium planned for late February, so you should check with Bill Chiat or our Institute's website for more information. I believe our strength here in California is in our diversity. And it is that diversity, where we live, whether it's urban, suburban, or rural, who we are, our gender, our race, our ethnicity, our sexual orientation, and our life experiences that shape our perspectives on issues and help inform us as we develop solutions that work for all Californians. I know that as we move forward into next year, the team of committee chairs and vice chairs that I will recommend and that are ultimately approved by the officers and executive committee will reflect the diversity and strength of who we are as an organization and who we are as a state. And I know all of you who get involved with work outside your county, whether it's here at CSAC or regional government, you all understand that we first need to take care of the issues in our county and in our district. So while our work here at CSAC is important, voters at home judge us on whether we are taking care of business back home, not whether we were successful in getting the governor to support our position on realignment, as important as that may be. So I want to take this opportunity to recognize the hard work of staff, both our county staff and, in my case, my district office staff, who helped me get the job done in my district so I can spend more time on behalf of all of you at CSAC. Two of my staff, Terrence Chung and Luz Gomez, are here, and I want to thank both of you and the rest of my office staff who are not here for working so hard for the residents of Contra Costa County so I can serve as an officer here at CSAC. And I want to acknowledge, yes. I also want to acknowledge, and they were introduced earlier, my colleagues on the Contra Costa board. They all spend, just like the other officers' colleagues on their boards, an enormous amount of time on issues working on the behalf of California counties. And Federal Glover, Karen Mitchoff, Candace Anderson are here, and Mary Pifo was here earlier. And I know there are a few Contra Costa staff here as well from a number of our county departments, and I want to thank you for your dedication and hard work. And I want to ask everyone from Contra Costa who is here to stand up, because I want to thank you for your public service. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge all the staff at all counties across California for their professional work and their great work in helping us, the electeds, develop and implement great county policy and programs. So can I ask all county staff of any county to stand, and for only the county supervisors to give them a hand, right? So the county supervisors, all county staff, we want you to rise. We want to give you a hand. I'm looking forward to continuing to work with all of you and our great CSAC leadership team and staff as we take on the challenges of another legislative and election year. And I am optimistic that we will have an even greater impact in the Capitol on behalf of counties. And I want to thank you again, all of you, for your service to the people of California.